Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Monday, March 16, and we are trading the June expiration. If you haven't rolled, better roll. We are trading June M26 right now. So watching this in the overnight, it looks fine, but you remember we rolled, so it wasn't really quite the same. But we did open to the upside. We gapped up a little, well, not quite gapped up, but we traded up a little bit. We had a little gap at the open, and then they kind of closed that. But we've been trading higher all overnight, and we're right up here to the high of the yesterday or Friday's day session. But remember, that's on the March expiration, so different contract. So, but overall, it looks pretty good that we have a pretty good spot here for this thing to move higher, or at least to trade back up again above that 60s. We'll see. I mean, if the June expiration is going to turn into something, but the overnight has been positive to the upside. It looks like we get a little bit of strength out of it, and let's see if we get any traction. I guess the positive news is that we didn't get any crazy stuff happening over the weekend. They just kind of keep decimating the Iranians and not just focusing on opening that straight. So that thing is going to be over pretty quick, I think. It's just a matter of then wrapping things up. It's and the most important, not getting caught in a what should I say, a quagmire. In other words, find a spot to end it and then move on, as they're doing now, involving a lot more people to keep that straight open. That would be the way to go, I think. It takes the basically take a step back and let the rest of the world ensure the oil flow they need coming out of that strait. But anyway, so that's the I think the biggest relief, I guess, for the markets going into the day session or to the session as comes on the morning here. Now we have news come out this week. This morning we actually have a fair amount of news. We get retail sales at 8:30, Empire State Manufacturing. 9:50 we get industrial production. 10 o'clock we get housing market data, and so that's like 9 at 8:30, 9:15, and 10 we have news this morning. Also, we have a Fed meeting beginning tomorrow. A Fed announcement come on Wednesday. Factory orders on Wednesday as well. Philly Fed, new home sales on Thursday. Not much options expirations on Friday. So quadruple witching on Friday. So a fair amount of news coming up, and a big part of the week probably going to be the employment. No, the Fed announcement, employment situation. Fed announcement. So that's coming out Wednesday afternoon. So I would start off range bound. I would just give it a slight bias to the upside to get started because we had a pretty good week ending of the March expiration, and we're giving the overnight. I would start off with a just slight bias to the upside to see if this strength is going to continue at least for the day session. Just be mindful. We have rolled unless they can get up above that 60s. We are still technically as kind of reverse retesting this area, the 67, 60s. We could still have a potential short setup against the 50s and 60s for rotations back down. If they take out that 60, 65 level, I would be back range bound. I'm thinking that we are back up in this upper range again. So I would prefer to get up above that 68.15, but right now I'll take that 67.60s at least, get something out of it. So that's kind of the dynamic I'm thinking on this guy. Let me see here. Yeah, so 67, 50, and 60s. That gets us up above this area of resistance. And then if we can get up above 68.15, then I think we are back in pretty good shape. But we have the little twilight zone here between those levels. But right now, what I'm watching for is really to see if that June expiration is going to, this contract rollover is going to result in a little bit of more and more positivity to the upside or not. Oil's gapped up this overnight. They were trading over $100 at the open. They're trading right back down here to 96, so they're kind of coming down. So we'll see. I mean, how this is going to shake out. But right now, I would start off looking to buy weakness at least down to that London low at 6,700. So Looking to buy against the 67.37s or 35s, I should say, 25s, 15s down to the 67.05s. So these four support areas. Below that session low, I'm going to take off that and go back on the short side of this and look for retracement to the downside. And on the short side, looking for those are buying opportunities. Looking for shorts against the 67.50 and the 65s here up. Rotations back down. We're looking to buy weakness down to that 67.05, 6700 level. Rotations up below that session lows. I'm going to be back and looking for the rotations to the downside. At that point, I'm thinking that anything on the long side has been reversed, and we are pretty much reversing that June little pop to the upside here. But right now, it looks like they've got pretty good momentum to the upside, so not necessarily bad at all. So right now, starting from as I said, starting with that slight bias to the upside, let's see if we can get up above that 50 and 65 resistance areas. But remember, these are resistance areas, and they're pretty good ones at that. So I would be looking for short setups against them and waiting for them to be taken out before I start getting excited about maybe a little bit more strength building up here. All right, so that's the ES to get started. We are trading the June expiration, same for the NASDAQ. And NASDAQ also pretty good shape to the upside. So they're trading higher. And right now, we are up above this area, the 650s. They were down below it going into the Friday close on the March expiration. Now we're in the June expiration. We're right back up here in this upper range. So ES looks pretty strong. Looking to buy a weakness down to that session lows at the 690s. Watch this area, the 650s. So I would give it below this support area before I take off any long bias. A little bit more room on the ES. That's kind of unusual. No, sorry, on the NASDAQ. That's kind of because it just moves a whole lot more. So NASDAQ definitely looks a little bit stronger than the ES. I think I just said that reversed a few minutes ago, but this is NASDAQ. So NASDAQ looks stronger than the ES to get started. They're back up in this upper range. ES has a little bit more work to do. But for the NASDAQ, looking to buy against that 820s, the 770s, 700s down to the 650s for rotations up, one level below the obvious. And that takes us right into that support area, this one right there, on the F1. So if that F1 support area comes out, yeah, I'm taking off the long bias and going looking for that retracement trade to the downside. And on the way up, look, we don't really have much. We're back up in this tractor area. So until they get up here towards the 120s, that's when we start getting resistance again. So resistance 120, 160, up to the 225s, 230s here for rotations down. So these are the areas I will look for a short setup against. There could be short setups on the way up here. I'm not going to be that aggressive on them. I think the best two ones comes early on here at the 950 mode here from it's from Thursday, and that that ledge here from Thursday, which 25,000. So there could be short setups there, but I would be holding out for the I think the best one's going to be up here against that upper area resistance. But let's see how it develops. So right now we have pretty good strong overnight, and NASDAQ looks pretty good. Let's see if they can get some further traction on it. This is the June expiration, so looking forward to June. Maybe there's not going to be any issues left from that Iranian regime. But you just never know. Those guys, if they dig in and take pot shots at tankers, that could go on for a long time. But that's why you need to have a lot of support to keep that straight open. So it's anyone's guess how long that part is going to last. But I think they're going to make a real effort to really wipe that stuff out. So, but both ES and NASDAQ started with a bias to the upside, even the overnight. And watch the ES ability to get up above this area right here, the 6760s. If they can get up above that one, they'll be a little bit more in good shape. But the ES is a little bit weaker shape than the NASDAQ, so we'll see if they can recover as well. So that's how we get started on the ES and NASDAQ. Now looking at the bonds, Looking at the bonds. Range bound. Have you? So here's your capital flow. So you can see your capital flow is a bit below the tractor area at the 115s. They were down here testing the almost down to the 113.16. Haven't gone quite to the 113s yet, but they could. They could still get down there. So they traded down here from this upper area all the way down here to the 113s after the war started. And let's see if they can get back above it again. But it's still pretty range bound. They're still in that bigger range, just drifting back and forth. So given the overnight, a little bit of strength, I would start off looking for strength. See if they can take out the 1415s, 1420s. If both these areas of resistance comes out, I would probably stay on the long side and see if they're going to retrace it further. But we are getting up towards that 115 area. That's your attractor to the upside. So these two resistance areas comes out, the 114.20 and the 114.12 to 12 to 14. Then we'll look for a continuation to the upside. Otherwise, I will look for short setups against these two for rotations. Back down again. All right, and or if they start heading lower, I would look to buy against support at 114s, the buck, 26s, 113.20s for rotations back up. So and below 113.20s, bets are off. I think we're heading down to 113 at that point. It's anyone's guess. Right now, we have a nicely move to the upside. Let's see if they can keep this moving. Right, looks like they stalled right now at 14.10. All right, we'll see. But range bound trading pretty much on the bonds as well. Given the last few days of trading, I would expect them to try to take it lower. But right now, the overnight it starts me off on the long side, just looking for early strength to see if they can take it higher. And if they can't, well, maybe that short side is going to just kick back in again. But watch that level though. If they can't really take it up here to the 14.12 to 20, 14.12 to 14s, I think, and they start taking out the 26s, I think we have our answer. We're going to be heading lower. So we'll see. At this point, range bound trading, and as I said, even it heading lower on the bond doesn't mean that they're going to be big rally. It means that they're just going to stay in the range like this. They're going to move from like it's like a point, less than a point range on the day. So it's not a whole lot of range. So you really have to have a great trade location to be able to trade it. But then again, just have to be patient. It's a different animal altogether, bonds. So anyway, so starting off range bound, let's see if the overnight strengths can hold on the bonds, but and we know when to change our bias. Right, back to the ES and Nasdaq, and running out a little bit, running out of the gas a little bit on these two right now, but I'll see how this is going to shake out. Alrighty, so starting off with that slight bias to the upside. Watch the ES if they can take out that 50s and the 65s, and the Nasdaq. We're already up in this area, so the Nasdaq, you really have to watch these lower areas. If they want to start taking out the 690 or the 650, those two support areas, then we have to worry about the short shot on the bonds, on the Nasdaq. All right, so there you have it. That's how we get started. I'm gonna wrap it there for now. So good trading, and I will see you guys back at 11:30 for the next update. So, ready? Good trading, guys. See you back later.